Hey guys, it's Parzival, and I am back with another speed paint and character babble. Now, this is probably going to be a bit of a short character babble, mostly because I know that these are both headshots, and I am going to be covering two characters today instead of one, and these characters are slightly less developed because I am admittedly still working on them. They are fandom characters, or at least they are now, and I don't know if I'm going to be putting them anywhere else yet, but I was drawing them and I recorded them, so I figured I would talk about them today. Now, the reason I'm talking about them together and the reason I drew them together is because they are a pair. They're not like a couple, they're just like best friends and like battle partners because this is a Rubyverse. Even though they aren't technically on the same team, they should be, but their names didn't work out for them to be on the same color team because for like Ruby, in the world of Ruby, all your teams have to be in a color name, and I couldn't get a color to work with the other team members. So they're just on two different teams, but they're like best friends who work together and stuff like that. Now, the character on screen now, his name is Venice Rossi, and he is Venetian Red for his color theme, because everyone in Ruby has a color theme or an aura color. Apologies to people who are already super familiar with Ruby. I'm probably telling you things that you already know, but in case anyone on this channel doesn't know what that is or what the thematics are for that, I wanted to make sure they were in the loop. So he is Venetian Red. His name is themed after that, hence why his name is Venice Rossi. Venice being the city, Rossi meaning red. And he is a character who has the power to make things solid with a swipe of his flag. So it's kind of like a paintbrush where he kind of paints in the environment and it becomes a platform. And that is his special ability. He's kind of a jerk, he's very pretentious, and he is one of those sort of characters who you make because you want to have like one of those edgy, bloody type characters without having edgy, bloody type characters, so it's like, it's just paint, and I was just having some fun with that. I don't know how I would revamp him if I did, because he does have a very specific ability and specific sort of theming, but I would definitely want to see if I could, just because I think that he is pretty fun, and at the very least fun to draw, even if I don't really have much for him yet, because that's honestly all I really got. I am going to get into talking about the next character before he appears on the screen, so I apologize about that. I know the visuals aren't really going to be the best, especially because you're not going to be looking at the character that I'm talking about, and I really don't know how to do that because right now this is all one piece of footage. I could definitely have cut it and like split it, but then I feel like that would be really weird to have something going extremely fast and then something going slower, so I'm just gonna leave it as is right now, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. I apologize. But the second character I have is Henley Pine, and he is a pine green color, so his theme is like pine green, and his concept was actually from when I was about 16 or 17. My friends and I entered this really cool concept to make up like asylum characters, and I think I made up a couple of ideas, and I didn't end up using the one for Henley, but I did end up liking the idea and using it for myself. And it was this concept of like a dryad or like a nature spirit who was in the asylum and wasn't really allowed to be connected to plants. And I sort of took that idea when I was older and revamped it a little bit, so he's kind of this plant-themed villain-type character who does not eat plants because that would be cannibalism, even though it wouldn't be because, you know, just eating meat isn't cannibalism. I mean, maybe if you're, you know, a supporter of PETA, it is, but, you know, cannibalism is eating the same thing you are, so, like, I guess in this case would be like a tomato eating a tomato or something if he were the god of a tomato plant. That would probably be cannibalism, but he's not all that smart, so he does not like eating plants, he only likes eating meat, and he is a little bit of a dick about it. And I sort of translated that into Rubyverse because he already had this sort of green hair and green plant theme. So all I had to do was give him a last name because when I originally made him, he didn't have a last name. And I believe he is on the screen now, and I am sketching him out. So I gave him the surname of Pine. I revamped his old asylum outfit because it was originally like this straight jacket and pants type outfit, and then I changed it around so it was actually more of a Ruby sort of battle outfit or like themed outfit, since Ruby's outfits aren't really battle outfits, but they kind of are for the characters. And his weapon, even though you can't see it in the reference picture because it's cut off, is a it's like a shovel trident. So it's a shovel, and then it can turn into a trident by separating out the metal bits. So Henley himself is a bit of a, I don't want to call him bloodthirsty because I feel like that's a stereotypical sort of word for an antagonistic character who likes to fight. But he definitely is a very opinionated person who is not afraid to challenge you to fight him outside the Denny's parking lot. But yeah, that's where I put him after the asylum thing didn't work out, and honestly, I would like to use him somewhere else as well besides Ruby, but he's just sort of one of those characters that I have that works very specifically in certain settings and doesn't work in most other settings, and therefore I don't really know what to do with him. He's always had this green hair though, and back when he was an actual dryad or like, you know, wood spirit, if he got unhealthy, it would actually turn like a yellowish color because it was supposed to be like his hair was vines and, you know, he was a plant, so he was slowly dying. I obviously kind of took that out, but I always have had issues with his hair because whenever I draw him, it's always traditional, so I could never end up with a decent hair color for him, for a flat color, because I was always trying to get that, like, gradient sort of color with him, and I didn't want that for this picture because I was mostly doing flat colors and maybe a little bit shading, and you know, it was something that I really struggled with trying to figure out what was the natural flat tone for his hair color. But I figured it out, and I think I'm very happy with it. But yeah, that is just about it for this particular character babble. Again, mostly because these are characters that I have a nostalgia for because I created them during, or at least I created Henley during a time when I was younger and I revamped several times. But as such, they don't really have too much about them right now because I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to put them and what I'm going to do with them. So yeah, I don't really have much for this, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys. But as such, I am going to let you guys go and let the outro play. Well, that's the end of this video. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section or contact me on any of my social media, which is linked in the description below. I also have my Patreon there if you guys want to throw a monthly donation at me. Thanks so much for your support. I'll see you next time. Bye!